The Galactic Council Chamber was the most powerful place in the universe. Here, the leaders of hundreds of advanced civilizations gathered to make decisions that shaped the fate of entire star systems. The hall was grand. Tall golden pillars, floating holograms of distant galaxies, and a massive circular table where the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat. But one seat was always empty. It was a dark, polished chair made of unknown metal, placed at the far end of the room. No one ever sat there. No representative ever arrived to take its place. It was the seat of Earth. For centuries, no one had questioned it. It was simply a tradition. The humans had once been part of the council, but now their presence was nothing more than a shadow, a silent throne that held a mystery no one dared to ask. But Rivak was not like the others. He was a young historian from the planet Trailus V, obsessed with lost history. While others ignored the empty seat, Rivak wanted to know the truth. The forbidden question. Rivak sat among the council observers, his bright green eyes focused on the Earth's empty seat. He whispered to his mentor, an old scholar named Eldrin. "Why is Earth's seat always empty?" Eldrin stiffened. His eyes darted around as if checking if someone had heard. He leaned closer, his voice low. "Never ask that question, Rivak." His voice carried a strange fear. "It is forbidden." Rivak frowned. "Why? What happened to them?" Eldrin sighed. "Humans were once part of the council, but they vanished. No one speaks of them anymore. Some say they were destroyed. Some say they left on their own." Rivak wasn't satisfied. "But who ordered the silence?" Eldrin hesitated before whispering, "The High Council." Rivak's heart pounded. The High Council controlled the entire galaxy. If they had erased Earth from history, there had to be a reason. The hidden archive. That night, Rivak couldn't sleep. He returned to the Galactic Library, a massive digital archive containing thousands of years of recorded history. He searched for records on Earth. Nothing. It was as if humanity had been erased completely. No files, no records, no wars, no treaties, just silence. His fingers trembled as he accessed restricted data channels, searching deeper. Finally, he found something. A small encrypted file buried under layers of security. Its title made his breath catch. Earth. Final transmission. With shaking hands, he pressed play. The screen flickered. A human face appeared. An old man with piercing blue eyes, his face marked with age and wisdom. His voice was calm, but his words were terrifying. "If you are hearing this, it's already too late." Suddenly, alarms blared. Red warning lights flashed across the screen. Access denied. Unauthorized entry detected. Rivak's stomach twisted. Someone knew he had accessed the file. He turned, heart pounding. The library doors slammed open, and black-armored council enforcers stormed in. "Historian Rivak, you are under arrest for accessing forbidden knowledge." His blood ran cold. He had only asked a question. But now he realized the truth. The council wasn't ignoring Earth's empty seat. They were hiding something, and Rivak had just made himself a target. Rivak's breath came in short gasps as he darted through the vast corridors of the Galactic Library. Behind him, the heavy boots of the council enforcers echoed like a death drum. He had only a few seconds before they caught him. "Freeze, historian," a cold mechanical voice commanded. But Rivak had no intention of stopping. He turned sharply into a darkened hallway, his mind racing. Why had the council reacted so aggressively? He had only accessed a file, a forgotten transmission, but now he was being hunted like a criminal. He spotted an emergency maintenance tunnel and threw himself inside, barely squeezing through before the security doors slammed shut behind him. He was safe for now, but his heart was still hammering. "If you are hearing this, it's already too late." That was all he had heard before the alarms went off. What was so dangerous about that message? Seeking help, Rivak knew he couldn't solve this mystery alone. He needed someone who could decrypt the locked file. There was only one person who could help: Zor-El. Zor-El was a rogue hacker, an outcast from the cybernetic species known as the Veltrin. If anyone could crack the Council's security, it was him. Rivak rushed to a hidden docking bay, where Zor-El ran an illegal data trading network. The place was dimly lit, filled with the hum of stolen technology. Rivak. Zor-El raised an eyebrow. Why do you look like you just stole the Emperor's crown? Rivak hesitated before sliding a small data drive across the table. I need you to unlock this. Zor-El picked it up, his artificial eyes scanning it. Suddenly, his expression darkened. Where did you get this? The Galactic Library. It's about Earth. Zor-El's fingers froze mid-air. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he asked, Do you have any idea what you've done? The second message. Despite his hesitation, Zor-El connected the drive to his custom decryption system. Lines of forbidden code scrolled down the screen. It was complex, layered with ancient security protocols. Finally, the message unlocked. The same old human appeared on the screen, his voice clear now. If you are hearing this, it's already too late. They made you forget. But Earth never surrendered. We are still here, watching. A cold shiver ran down Rivak's spine. Zor-El's mechanical fingers curled into a fist. This is bad. Really bad. Rivak leaned in. What does it mean? Before Zor-El could answer, an explosion shook the room. The doors blasted open, and black armored enforcers stormed in. They had been found. And now, there was no escape. Rivak barely had time to react before the enforcers were upon them. The blast had thrown debris into the air, the sharp sound of metal scraping against stone ringing in his ears. Zor-El was already at the controls, his fingers flying across the screens in a desperate attempt to unlock another escape route. We don't have much time, Zor-El growled, his voice steady despite the chaos. Get to the rear exit now. Rivak didn't hesitate. He knew that if they didn't move quickly, they would be caught. The Council's enforcers were ruthless, and they never gave up. He ran toward the rear of the room, hearing the heavy boots of the guards closing in from all directions. But as Rivak turned the corner into the narrow hallway, his heart sank. There was no exit, only a steel door, locked and reinforced. Zor-El, hurry, he shouted. The door's locked. I know. Zor-El's voice came from behind him. Just hold on. Rivak spun around and saw Zor-El frantically typing in codes, his eyes glowing with urgency. The sound of approaching enforcers grew louder, the sound of their weapons charging filling the air. Suddenly, Zor-El looked up. Got it. He pressed a button on the screen, and the steel door slid open with a loud hiss. Without thinking, Rivak dashed through, and Zor-El followed, the door closing just in time to block the enforcers' advance. They were now in a hidden section of the underground city, a maze of forgotten tunnels and passageways that few knew about. A dark path ahead. They didn't stop running. The corridors were dim, lit only by the flickering lights overhead. The silence was eerie, a stark contrast to the chaos they had just escaped. As they ran, Rivak couldn't help but think about the message. Earth never surrendered. We are still here, watching. Who were these humans? How could they have survived for so long without anyone knowing? And why had the Council erased all traces of them? Zor-El, what do you think? Rivak asked between breaths. What does it all mean? Zor-El's face was hard to read, his mechanical eye flickering as he processed the data. I don't know, but it doesn't add up. Humans were erased from history for a reason. If they're alive, the Council is hiding something big, something dangerous. The two of them reached an old access elevator. Zor-El hacked into it, and they descended further into the depths of the city. As they traveled lower, Rivak felt the weight of what they were getting into. The deeper they went, the more dangerous it became. There were no official records of this part of the city. It was an area that had been abandoned, forgotten by time. But now it felt like the only safe place they could be. A warning from the past. As the elevator doors opened, they stepped into a vast, hidden chamber. The walls were lined with ancient technology, old human-made devices, their designs unlike anything Rivak had ever seen. "What is this place?" Rivak whispered. "An old safe house, one of many scattered throughout the galaxy," Zyril replied. "Humans used to hide their most dangerous secrets here. This could be where they've been hiding all this time." Rivak moved toward a terminal in the center of the room. His hand hovered over the dusty control panel as he read the faded text. "Emergency vault. Do not access." Ignoring the warning, Rivak activated the system. The terminal hummed to life, revealing a series of encrypted data files. He opened one file labeled "The Final War." The message that followed was short but chilling. "If the Council finds this, it's over for us. But we cannot go quietly. We will fight. We will return." Rivak's mind raced. What were they planning? What did they mean by return? Suddenly, the ground shook beneath them. The walls cracked. The hum of alarms echoed through the room. The Council had found them. "We don't have much time," Zyril said, grabbing Rivak's arm. "They're here." They needed to move, and fast. But Rivak knew one thing for sure. They were not just fighting for their survival anymore. The Council had hidden something far more dangerous than they had realized. And soon, the galaxy would know the truth. The chamber trembled as the distant sound of heavy footsteps grew louder. Council enforcers. Rivak's pulse raced as he and Zyril sprinted deeper into the underground labyrinth, trying to put as much distance between them and the approaching soldiers. The walls shook with each passing second, and the distant hum of alarms was a constant reminder that their time was running out. "They're closing in," Zyril muttered, his voice tight with urgency. He glanced over his shoulder, his glowing eyes scanning the darkness behind them. "We need to find somewhere to hide. Now." Rivak's mind was reeling. The final war. The message they had found earlier was haunting. Humans had fought the Council before, and lost. But something felt wrong. If the humans were truly gone, why was there still this hidden network, these underground vaults? Why were the enforcers so determined to stop them from uncovering the truth? They rounded a corner, and Zyril slammed his hand against another terminal, activating the next security door just in time. The two of them dashed through as the door sealed behind them. The silence that followed was suffocating, broken only by their heavy breathing. "Where are we going?" Rivak asked, trying to keep his voice steady. "To the source of all this," Zyril answered grimly. "There's a reason the Council never wanted us to know about Earth, and I think we're about to find out what it is." The deeper they ventured into the maze of hidden tunnels, the more alien the technology around them became. Strange symbols pulsed on the walls, lights flickered in eerie patterns, and the air grew colder. This place was old, much older than any human civilization, and the deeper they went, the more Rivak felt like they were walking into the heart of something dark. The ancient chamber. At last, they'd reached what seemed to be the heart of the hidden vault. The door before them was larger than anything they had seen so far, marked with a strange, glowing symbol, something neither of them recognized. Rivak's hand hovered over the control panel, unsure whether it was safe to open. But Zyril, always the bolder of the two, pressed the button without hesitation. The door groaned, then slowly began to open, revealing a vast, circular chamber beyond. The sight that greeted them was breathtaking. Rows upon rows of ancient human technology lined the walls, their intricate designs glowing with a faint, pulsating energy. At the center of the chamber, there was a massive, metallic structure, its surface covered in strange markings. It seemed as though it had been waiting for them. But Rivak's eyes were drawn to something else. In the center of the room, a lone chair sat. It was made of the same black metal as the one at the Galactic Council, but this one had an eerie presence about it. "The throne of Earth," Rivak whispered, his voice shaking. Zyril approached the chair cautiously. He reached out and pressed his hand against it, and suddenly, the entire chamber came alive. Lights flickered to life, and a low hum resonated throughout the room. A deep voice filled the air, ancient and echoing, as though the very walls themselves were speaking. Humanity returns. Rivak froze. This was not a message. This was something more. A warning. What is this? Rivak whispered, his mind racing. Who's speaking? Zyral's face turned pale. This is what the Council was afraid of. Humanity wasn't destroyed. They were just waiting. Rivak's thoughts spun. Could it be true? Were the humans still alive somehow? Had they been in hiding for centuries, waiting for the right moment to return? The implications were staggering. The entire balance of power in the galaxy could shift in an instant. We need to leave. Now, Zyral said, grabbing Rivak's arm. But it was too late. The chamber's lights flickered again, and suddenly, the door slammed shut with a deafening clang. They were trapped. And then, the voice spoke again. You have uncovered what was never meant to be known. The throne of Earth shall awaken, and with it, humanity will rise once more. Rivak's heart pounded. He realized with sudden clarity that they weren't just uncovering humanity's past. They were awakening something that had been sleeping for centuries. And now, the entire galaxy would feel its effects. The chamber shook violently, and Rivak's heart raced. The sound of footsteps pounding echoed through the hallways. The Council enforcers were closing in, fast. Zyral pulled Rivak toward a hidden doorway at the back of the room, its entrance concealed by the shifting shadows. This way, Zyral urged, his voice tight with urgency. They sprinted through the narrow tunnel, leaving behind the hum of the alarms and the encroaching sound of footsteps. Rivak could feel the tension in the air, thick and suffocating. They had barely escaped the library, but now it seemed like there was no way out. Zyral didn't slow down. His fingers were already at work, activating hidden systems that sealed off the passage behind them. We're going deeper. We need to find the vault before they do. The vault. Rivak's thoughts swirled around the mysterious message, the cryptic warnings about the final war and the Council's involvement. Whatever was hidden in this place could change everything. They passed through several more secret doors, entering what appeared to be an underground complex long abandoned by its creators. The air grew colder the deeper they went, and the walls began to take on a metallic sheen. The hum of old machines filled the space, their ancient technology still functioning after centuries of silence. Zyral led the way, his eyes scanning the area. We're close, he muttered. Suddenly, the tunnel widened, revealing a massive chamber. It was filled with towering metal containers, each one pulsing with an eerie glow. The walls were covered in strange symbols and alien writing, an ancient language no one had seen in centuries. Rivak's breath caught in his throat. He recognized the symbols. They were human. The same designs he had seen in the data files from earlier. What is all this? Rivak asked, his voice trembling. Zyral stopped in front of a massive vault door. He turned to Rivak, his expression serious. This is the real reason the Council erased humanity. They didn't want anyone to know what they were hiding down here. The final revelation. Zyral knelt before the vault door, his fingers flying across the panel, entering code after code. Rivak watched, unsure of what to expect. The tension was unbearable. Finally, with a loud hiss, the door began to open. Inside, Rivak saw something that made his blood run cold. The room was filled with rows and rows of cryogenic chambers, each one holding a human body frozen in time. Dozens, hundreds, maybe even thousands. What is this? Rivak whispered, unable to tear his eyes away from the sight. Zyral stood still, his face grim. These are the survivors of Earth. Rivak's mind struggled to grasp the truth. Survivors. But I thought Earth was lost. The Council lied. Zyral cut him off. They never destroyed Earth. They locked these people away, frozen, hidden from the universe. The humans didn't die. Rivak. They've been here all along, waiting. Rivak felt his legs weaken as the weight of the revelation hit him. The entire galaxy had been deceived. Earth wasn't gone. It had been hidden. And these people, these humans, had been waiting in stasis for the right moment to return. But why? Why hadn't they made themselves known? Why had they stayed hidden for so long? Zurel pointed toward the far corner of the room, where a large console hummed with power. It was connected to the chambers. There's more. There's a message from Earth's last leader, the one who made this decision. I don't think you're going to like what it says. Rivak walked over to the console, his mind racing. He activated it, and the screen flickered to life. An image of a woman appeared, a human woman, her face marked with age and sorrow. Her voice was calm, but it carried an undeniable heaviness. To whoever finds this, her voice cracked slightly. We had no choice. The Council would never allow humanity to be free. They feared what we could become. So, we chose to hide. We put ourselves into stasis, to wait until the time was right. The message continued, the woman explaining the final decision humanity had made. They had hidden themselves not because they feared death, but because they had realized something far worse. The Council was not just a government. It was a prison. We will return. But when we do, everything will change. Humanity will rise, and the Council will fall. As the message ended, Rivak stood in stunned silence. He had thought he was uncovering a forgotten chapter of history, but what he had discovered was far darker and far more dangerous. Earth wasn't gone. It had only been waiting, and soon it would rise again. Rivak stood frozen in the dimly lit chamber, the hum of the cryogenic pods echoing in his ears. His mind struggled to make sense of the message he had just heard. The Council, the very institution that ruled the galaxy with an iron fist, had feared humanity so much that they had hidden them away. Humanity was not dead, as they had been told for generations. No, they were only waiting, hidden in these frozen chambers, to awaken when the time was right. This is impossible, Rivak whispered under his breath. It's real, Zyril said firmly, his voice barely audible over the hum of the machinery. It's all real. The truth was undeniable, and it was worse than Rivak could have imagined. Humanity had been in stasis for centuries while the galaxy had been led to believe they were lost. Earth's survival had been kept secret. The Council's tyranny had ensured that no one could question their absolute control, and they had erased every trace of humanity's existence. Now, the secret was out, and Rivak was caught in the middle of it. Rivak turned to Zyril, his mind racing. We have to tell the galaxy. We have to warn them that Earth is not only alive but waiting to strike back. The Council won't stand a chance. Zyril's eyes glinted with suspicion. It's not that simple. We don't even know how strong humanity is now, or how they will react when they wake up. Rivak took a deep breath, trying to steady his thoughts. He knew Zyril was right. The humans had been hidden away for a reason. They hadn't been a part of the galaxy for so long. No one knew what they had become. Would they be the saviors the galaxy had been waiting for, or would they bring a storm of destruction? We need to find out more, Rivak said, his voice determined. We can't just leave this place and go back empty-handed. We need answers. Zyril nodded, agreeing reluctantly. Agreed. But we need to be careful. The Council knows we're here. We can't afford to make another mistake. As they moved deeper into the complex, Rivak felt a growing sense of urgency. Every step they took felt like a step closer to the beginning of something monumental. The galaxy had been living in peace, or so they thought, under the Council's watchful eyes. But now, the truth had been uncovered. The calm before the storm. Rivak and Zyril moved through the maze-like corridors of the ancient complex, their footsteps echoing in the silence. The deeper they ventured, the more the atmosphere felt heavy, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. Everything in this place seemed to be a reminder of what had been hidden, forgotten history, technology, and plans far older than any of them had imagined. They passed through another set of locked doors, which slid open with a hiss. Inside, Rivak's eyes widened. The room before them was filled with hundreds of data consoles, each one blinking to life as Zyril approached. The screens displayed detailed star maps, advanced blueprints, and hundreds of documents, each more classified than the last. "This is it," Zyril murmured, running his fingers across one of the terminals. "Everything the Council tried to erase is here." Rivak stepped forward, studying the readouts on the screen. They're all military specs, weapons designs, starships." His voice was filled with disbelief. The sheer scale of what lay in front of him was impossible to comprehend. Humanity hadn't just been hiding. They had been preparing for something that would change the galaxy forever. "Zyril," Rivak said, his heart pounding. This isn't just about survival. This is about taking the galaxy back." Zyril didn't reply at first. He was too busy studying a set of blueprints on one of the consoles. Then he turned to Rivak, his face grim. "You're right. This is bigger than we thought. The humans were not just hiding from the Council. They were planning." Rivak's mind raced. Planning for what? For war? "Yes," Zyril replied, his voice low. "They knew the Council would never let them go. They knew the galaxy would be ruled by a dictatorship forever, so they made sure that when the time came, they would be able to strike back." Zyril tapped a few commands into the terminal, and the screen flashed with an image of a massive battle station. It was unlike anything Rivak had ever seen. Its scale was monstrous, with weapons capable of destroying entire planets. But what stood out most were the symbols emblazoned on its hull. Symbols that Rivak instantly recognized. "Human designs," he whispered. They were building fleets. Hidden fleets, waiting for the right moment to strike. Zyril leaned in closer. The Council never knew. They thought they had wiped out humanity, but all this time, they'd been preparing for a war they never saw coming. Rivak's thoughts flashed back to the message they had found earlier, the words of the last human leader, the one who had made the decision to hide humanity away for centuries. "We will return, and when we do, everything will change." Rivak clenched his fists. He had always thought of humanity as the forgotten species, lost to time. But now he realized humanity had been preparing to change the universe on their own terms. The Council's grip on the galaxy was built on lies, and the truth was about to come crashing down. "So what now?" Rivak asked, his voice a mixture of awe and fear. "How do we stop the Council from finding this place?" Zyril's eyes narrowed, his fingers flying over the terminal. "We need to find the rest of the humans, the ones who are still in stasis, and we need to find a way to wake them up, before the Council does." Suddenly, a warning light flashed on the terminal. "Warning. Intruder alert. Council enforcers approaching." Rivak's heart skipped a beat. They were running out of time. "We need to move. Now." Zyril grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the nearest exit. "The Council can't find us here. If they do, everything we've uncovered will be lost. But we can't let that happen. Not now." The two of them sprinted down the corridor, the sound of approaching footsteps growing louder. "We need to warn the galaxy," Rivak panted, his mind racing. "We have to stop the Council from finding the humans." "We will," Zyril said, his voice hardening with determination. "But first, we have to survive." As they reached the exit, Zyril activated another hidden mechanism, revealing a secret passageway. They slipped through, the doors closing silently behind them. They had uncovered the truth, but now they had to live long enough to make sure it would never be hidden again. The war was coming, but this time, it wouldn't be the Council's war. It would be humanity's war, and no one was ready for the storm that was about to hit. Rivak and Zyril ran through the underground tunnels, their hearts pounding. The Council's enforcers were close, too close. Every second counted. If they were caught, the truth about humanity would die with them. "We need to reach the command center," Zyril said, glancing at the map on his wrist device. "If we activate the emergency beacon, we can send a signal to the hidden human fleet." Revak's breath hitched. "Are you sure they'll answer?" Zyril met his gaze, eyes burning with determination. "If they're still out there, they will." The two pressed forward, dodging fallen debris and ancient machinery. The underground facility was vast, filled with corridors leading to secrets long buried. The Council had erased Earth's presence from history, but the truth was alive, waiting to rise again. Ahead, a massive steel door loomed. It was rusted with time, but the insignia on it was unmistakable. A faded Earth emblem, proof that humanity had never truly been defeated. Zyril activated the console, hacking into the ancient system. The screen flickered, then roared to life. Access granted. The door groaned open, revealing a massive chamber filled with dormant starships. Rows upon rows of battle-ready vessels, hidden beneath the surface for centuries. Revak's eyes widened. This is an entire fleet. Zyril stepped forward, activating the main console. Not just any fleet. This is the fleet humanity built in secret. The fleet the Council never found. The screens flashed, showing pre-recorded messages from the last human commanders. Their words were chilling. "If you are hearing this, then the time has come. The Council thought they could erase us, but we never left. Humanity will rise again." Zyril turned to Revak, his expression grim. "We have a choice. We can run, or we can fight." Revak clenched his fists. He had spent his life believing the Council's lies. But now, standing before an army built in the shadows, he knew the truth. "We fight." Zyril nodded. "Then let's wake them up." He slammed his hand on the final activation command. Across the chamber, lights flared. Engines hummed to life. The ships, human ships, were awakening. Alarms blared. The Council's forces had breached the tunnels, but it didn't matter anymore. Humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again.